One. We gonna get to it. We gonna get right to it. Right, the Bronx's own. We gonna get right to it. We gonna get.
What
Oh,
up?
now we gonna get right to it. AOC in the
What's
building.
up, Fat Joe? How's it going?
I'm excited. First of all, I want to say, I really like you because I pull out my favorite sneakers. These are my
There
These
we
are my
go.
linens. These are my favorite Fat Joe sneaker ever. I'm a sneaker collector.
That
I brought
beautiful
that out for you.
colorway. I love the colorway. I appreciate that. And
That's
it
the
matches
linens.
with that beautiful mural, which we all know.
You know that's Hector.
Señor Lavo, el cantante.
You know me. I got a rep. Now
Amen. Amen.
AOC, I'm proud of you. You're a
Thank you.
Latina. You from the Bronx. I don't know how we never met each other in person yet, but
I know, seriously.
no, but I'm proud of you, and we don't have too many Latinas in the political realm that's representing like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to get to it with you, though, but
Yeah.
we're gonna have real talk. This the real.
Let's
We
do
got
it.
two things. I want to sound like I know what I'm talking about, and you're gonna get all the street credibility in the world after this.
Okay, there we go.
So
There
we
we go.
both
We'll
got a
exchange.
win-win situation, right? Now let's go here with it. The question, right? So we don't dodge questions or nothing, AOC.
Oh no, of course.
I'm friendly. It's three things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You can vote for Trump,
Mm-hmm.
you can vote for Biden,
Mm-hmm.
or you can not vote at all.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you gonna vote for?
In November, I'm gonna be voting for Joe Biden. That's what I'm gonna be doing. That's what I'm gonna be doing.
I love that, AOC. I love that. I love that. That you. So is this the first time you said you voting for Biden, or?
I mean, I've been saying this whole time that we gotta support the Democratic nominee, but
Is this the first time you said Joe Biden, that you're voting for Joe Biden? That's the question, publicly.
If this isn't the first time, this might be. It could be the second. I don't know. As far as this is the time where I'm saying it declaratively like this, I think.
That's beautiful.
Because you ask a straight question, I'm gonna give you a straight answer.
That is facts, yo, and I love you for that. So, breaking news: you will support Joe Biden. Bernie's your guy. Mm-hmm. Bernie's my daughter's guy. She's my executive. This is a family business. My daughter is executive producer. My wife is on the Diet Pepsi and on the lights, and we home making something out of nothing. Yeah. So, Bernie was your guy, and you really, really support Bernie. My daughter loves him to death. I love a lot what Bernie has, just like you. I like a lot what you stand for. Some things, I'm more of a traditional Democrat. Some concerns everybody had was, Bernie was like coming up with promising these things that they didn't believe he could bring. But I love that he stood for healthcare for all. I love that he didn't get no money from no lobbyist or nobody, because me personally, we're sponsored by Fan Mio. And we're going to say it, and we're going to love Fan Mio, this Fat Joe show. So I believe, just like you believe, that if somebody's giving you the money to run an election, then you have a certain loyalty to them.
Absolutely.
So, but I believe that the conversation, with people like you and Bernie, at least you move the conversation more to where it needs to be. And I heard a lot of stuff this election that I never heard, like systemic racism, all these things that was going on. And I know that was because Bernie, they had to address the situation because he was going to talk about it. You from the Bronx. Where from the Bronx?
So I live in Parkchester. My cousins and my goddaughters, they're out in Hunts Point, Longwood area. And I did a lot of community organizing in Longwood, Hunts Point, near where the banknote building is, by that like McDonald's gas station.
Because I was looking. I was looking. This ain't a trick question. This ain't. I was looking for you. Like I was like, where's this girl from? Because I know Tita from this block. I know this. I want to know where this girl is from because she's yelling the Bronx. You represent the Bronx. You represent Queens. You know, that's me. That's my house. I'm from the Bronx. My wife from Queens.
Yep. Oh, that's where in Queens is she from?
She's from Jamaica, Queens, from where 50 Cent and them is from.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she from Jamaica, Queens. So, we could get to it like this. So you from the Bronx, you from Parkchester, right? I know you against. Explain to me your view on capitalism and people making money. Like, just explain that to me.
So, the way that I feel is that when we get to a point where we start to prioritize certain profit margins above people's core rights, like healthcare, their ability to have a living wage, their ability, when we pay people less than their ability to live, to have rent, to feed themselves, to send their kids to school, that it is unethical and that there is actually a limit to greed, right? And it's not to say that we shouldn't live prosperous lives. It's not to say that we should strive to materially improve our lives. But what it is to say is that there's got to be a point where we got to say, hold on, we need to check and we need to address climate change. We need to make sure that we aren't charging $4,000 a month for insulin for people who work at McDonald's, for people who work at Marshall's, for people who work at Taco Bell. There are some things that should not be for sale. Our lives should not be for sale. Our ability to go to a hospital should not be for sale. Our ability to leave a planet for our kids to live on should not be for sale. Black and brown bodies should not be for sale in jails and prisons. And there are some things that should not be for profit. Prisons should not be for profit. I think we should have public schools that we protect, that are high quality, that you don't have to go to an elite private school in order to get a good education. If you want to, you can. But we should have public schools that are free. We should have libraries that are free. And our college education should also be free, because as our economy evolves, our education needs to evolve. So what I believe is that we should have an economy that is centered on workers, where workers have control over their lives, where they aren't being exploited in warehouses. And ultimately, when people want to talk about democratic socialism and what is this and capitalism and all of these isms, essentially
communism.
When people talk about communism,
AOC. Man, I got some DMs. She's a communist. How you got a communist in here?
They've
been using that word forever in America. But I've never really met an American communist.
You know what's crazy though is that a lot of people do not know their own history. Did you know Martin Luther King was a democratic socialist? Did you know Albert Einstein was a democratic socialist? Do you know James Baldwin was an anti-capitalist? They don't teach us our own history. We had over 1,000 socialists elected in all different seats in the United States of America about 100 years ago. And you know what we had? One of the strongest labor movements. We had that's when we started to establish a 5-day work week. That's when we got weekends. That's when we stopped child labor. That's when we made all of these strides. And they don't teach any of that to us in school. We think it just happened. We think that people didn't give their lives. People got murdered in the streets so that we could have Saturday and Sunday off. And those were democratic socialists that did that. And it's, again, people are saying, oh, this is communism, this is that. No, the whole reason why we have labor rights is so that is due to these labor movements that said, listen, we need to make sure that we have a prosperous economy, but we also need to make sure that it is working for everyday people, that it's guaranteeing our rights.
Recently, I agree with a lot of stuff you said. That's what I'm saying. I agree with a lot of things you say. You're not crazy, and I care about the people. Even though, you know, people who make money like me, everybody says I'm supposed to be a Republican. I'm supposed to be for Trump. I'm supposed to be for the money. But even though no matter, I'm a capitalist, and I'm trying to make the most money I can in the universe and leave my family for generations to come wealth. But at the same time, I care about my people. That's why I'm a Democrat. So I agree with a lot of things you say. When I say capitalism, I say, like, if not for capitalism, how could we have somebody like J-Lo, who's a Boricua from the Bronx, A-Rod, who's a Dominican from Washington Heights? They just said they want to buy the New York Mets. You know, what do you feel about a move like that?
You know, I think that it's all about our context, right? So right now, in this world that we're living in, if power is going to be distributed in that way, then we got to be at the table, right? Like the way that our society is organized right now, if you're either going to be an owner, or oftentimes you are going to be owned. But that power structure, that relationship is something that I think we should question. But as long as things are lined up like that, we should be out there. We should be making sure that we have a seat at the table. We should be making sure that we're here empowering our communities, while at the same time asking, why were we born into these conditions and inequities in the first place? You know, and is that core relationship that we're talking about? It's because people make money off of us being in these kind of oppressive systems to begin with. And so the thing is, it's beautiful what you've been able to accomplish in your life. It's beautiful what J-Lo and A-Rod and those of us have been able to accomplish in our lives. But if it's just a handful of us, we need to start asking the deeper structural questions about not how can a couple of us get out of the hood. It's not about that. It's about how do we make society work for all of us, not just where Manhattan and all these folks in Manhattan get to go out to lunch because we're all serving them, you know, at Chipotle. It's about a deeper structural type of relationship.
You know, when I hear you, you're like a lightning rod. You're like a bull, right? And I'm the same way. There's no other way you could be Fat Joe in the hip hop business.
It's like where we come from.
Yeah, it's where we come from, you know. And but even in this business, I had to learn in a fast way, because, you know, I came in fresh off the streets, the Bronx, hardcore, and I had to become political in this game. So this whole game was politics. I do a favor for you. Don't step on that guy's toes. That's Russell Simmons. He's the dawn of the whole shit. Don't dislike. It was all politics.
Absolutely.
But sometimes when I watch you from afar, I say, are you so strong that you can alienate getting the job done? Because you're so strong with your views, and you lash out to the point of where, how could you make it the people come together and vote for you? Because when I hear this, me against the world, no, you for the people. So you got the people. Let's be clear. Don't diss AOC because you got the barbs. like you know, Nikki got the barbs, or the Beehive. You got the AOCs. Don't get that messed up. You got the AOCs. So you got your crew that believes in you. But how could you get other people to agree with you to pass laws and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, and it's an excellent question, because, you know, I feel like I'm going through very much that similar experience that you talking about, that you went through, in that, you know, I just 2 years ago, not even 2 years ago, like 18 months ago, or almost 2 years ago, I literally went overnight from being a bartender to being one of the most closely scrutinized politicians in the United States. And it literally happened overnight. Like June 25th, no one cared about me. The only time anyone got mad at me was if I swiped my Metro card too slow. And then the next day, I win this primary, and I'm on Fox News and CNN and MSNBC, and who is this girl? And literally, like, I went home from our primary night party at 3 o'clock in the morning. I go to sleep for an hour, wake up, and I have to go to Morning Joe and start talking politics. And all of a sudden I'm on national television for the first time in my entire life at 28. And now it's 2 years later. And so I very much have been going through this process where it's like you're self-taught, right? And you have to do that so publicly.
You have to learn as you work.
Exactly. And you learn as you work. And there's going to be a bunch of people in the cheap seats saying, they messed up here, she messed up there, you shouldn't have done that, why'd you mess this up? And you have no choice but to learn and to make these mistakes publicly and to get your knocks and to get your bruises and to piss people off, but to also have people cheer you on, and you literally learn on the way. And so, you know,
I'm going to tell you something I know from being older than you and from wisdom is one day you might change your opinion on some things in the future.
Absolutely.
And you might look back and be like, yo, I was a little, maybe I went too hard with this one. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, our minds change. It's nothing. There's one thing I hated about politics, I hate about politics, which I love politics, but I hate is that if you say something in 1969, you got to stick to it in 2020.
Yeah.
The shit changed. There's
absolutely.
Teslas, there's modern tech, not like everything changes. Like, so why, if you say something in 1968, you're doomed in 2020?
Well, you know what I think it is? I think it's also how people explain it. Because here's the thing, is that I do think that right now, what people do appreciate is authenticity. So there's a difference between you having a position, genuinely having a new experience or getting educated on something or seeing something in a new way and changing your mind. There's a difference between that and politicians who are constantly kind of just going wherever the wind blows. And they are not changing their minds because it's what they believe. They're changing their minds because they think that that's what's politically convenient in that moment. Like when we look at how mass incarceration happened. It was a campaign of political pressure created by conservatives and also conservative Democrats that said, yeah, like lock them up. And this was not just a racial thing, because there were politicians of all races that voted for, you know, the 94 crime bill. And so I think it's absolutely, you know, you're going to evolve in life, but it's about how authentic that is and the way that you communicate that. And I think if you say, you know what, hey, you know what, I messed up, if you're authentic about it, that's the best that you can ask for. And I think for me, I think there, you know, is it possible that I'll look back and see, oh, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have made that decision, this, that, and the other. Ultimately, I think that when I think about mistakes that I make or things I would have done differently, to me, they tend to be tactical. How I would have done something would be different, or how I would have prepared for something would be different. But one thing that at least I carry through with me in this work is that I always do what I believe. And if I, you know, fall on my own sword, if I die by my own sword, you know, if I, for whatever reason, don't get reelected, at least I kept it real about what I believed. And at least I was who I was every day when I woke up in the morning, and I was never trying to be anybody else. And I was never trying to you know, pander to any type of belief that I didn't believe in. And so
you ever walked in there and looked at all these people and said, my God, these people are old? Have you ever walked in there and looked around and said,
all the time. Listen, especially when coronavirus is out here and our elderly populations are vulnerable. When this thing started, you know, and I still think it, like, I don't know if all of us are going to make it through this. And that's a real thought. And it's very scary and it's very serious. And I don't mean like just because everyone's old, but all of us are vulnerable. You know, it's like a sandbox in there. You look at C-SPAN, that, like, the floor of the House of Representatives, they got like the fisheye lens. It looks really big, but in truth, it's very small. It's like a kindergarten. Everyone's like all like close to each other, breathing on each other. And it's very scary. It's very, very scary.
Are they discussing new plans of how people are going to, is it going to be social distancing in the house? Like, what are they going to do it out of a different place or open?
So we're set to vote tomorrow. The plan is that they're just going to let in members, like they're going to let them in by their last name, something like 10 letters at a time, or even less, probably like 5 letters at a time or 7 letters at a time. So they're going to be like, okay, if your last name A through G, now you can go in, vote for X period of time, and then leave. And so they're going to be letting people in for small kind of batches at a time and then go out. And so voting's going to take a lot longer. They're not even, we were going to vote on proxy voting so that you could vote from a distance. You can vote from another city. They're not going to do that. And so people are in real danger. We have to get on planes to get over here. And for me, it's one thing, right? You know, for me, relative to like California or Florida or Texas, you know, I just have to come to DC from New York. It's a shorter haul than someone that has to come from Hawaii or Alaska. But still, like, it's very dangerous for every person that has to get on and do that.
What about Biden he hinted to a female vice president. Mm-hmm. What do you think about a female vice president?
So for me, it's a mixed bag. I would love for us to make that history. I think that history is important. I think that representation is important. But it's not just about, you know, is it a woman? It needs to be, who is that woman? What does that woman believe? And will that woman push him to be better as a president as well? Will that woman push our country to be better? And so, you know, I think it's really good that we have a female vice president, but it's also about what she's committed to, what policy she's committed to as well.
Stacey Abrams, how you like Stacey?
I love Stacey Abrams. I think she's doing the Lord's work down there in Georgia. You know, it's really serious.
They opening up Georgia in the middle of Corona.
They're going to kill people. They're going to kill people. And let's be really clear about who they're going to kill, because this is not just endangering everybody. They're going to kill frontline hourly workers, single mothers, people that are working hourly jobs, the vulnerable. In Las Vegas, the mayor of Las Vegas was saying, use us as a control group, and they wanted to open the casinos, and people were asking her, are you going to go on the floor with those casino workers? Are you going to go out there? And she said, you know, stuttering, no, I have a family. As though these other workers don't have families to go home to as well.
Exactly. In the Bronx, you did some major things. Tell me what you did since the Corona, how you raised these funds, how you got this money to the people. Break that down to us.
Yeah, so we're doing kind of an all-out relief effort in the Bronx. It's still going on, so anyone that's interested can just go to our website, ocasio-cortez.com/events. But what we're doing is that I started rolling over what would have normally been my campaign donations to just direct food pantry donations. And everything that we're doing with our email list, you know, a lot of people know I'm not backed by lobbyists. I'm backed by everyday people that pitch in $5, $15. So the average donation to my campaign is about $16. And it's just thousands of people that donate $16. And so what we did was that we rolled that over to thousands of people giving $16 to the food pantries. And so we've raised $250,000 to immigrant rights organizations, to criminal justice reform, food pantries. And every Friday I go out and deliver meals. So last Friday I was out at Throgs Neck Houses in NYCHA. The weekend before that, we were in Lafrac City in Corona. And, you know, we organize, we pack up all the meals from our community office, which is near Castle Hill, and then we pack them up and we ship them out every week.
Trump's ban on immigration. Do you think it was the smart thing to do right now, being the coronavirus and with the immigrants, or you think he should still allow the immigrants in the country right now?
So there's two things going on. One is that there are certain public health indicators where we should suspend non-essential travel, right? So there's multiple, like when people say, what is immigration? Is it anybody that's coming across? You know, are we suspending vacation travelers, tourists? That's one thing. But Trump is trying to take this moment. You know what he started saying? That not only is he closing off immigration, now today he's talking about suspending green cards and green card applications. So those are people who are living here that are trying to be on a path to citizenship. So now he's starting to ratchet things up and clamp down our ability to be America, to be you know, a nation that is just overwhelmingly immigrant and have a heritage of immigrants. But you know what's the ultimate hypocrisy about this? Is that while he's talking about keeping people from coming inside, he is filling planes with COVID positive immigrants and putting them on planes to other countries. So is
that facts?
It is facts. There was a plane loaded up, sent to Guatemala, because they're still conducting deportations with COVID positive immigrants. The health ministry in Guatemala tested everybody when that plane landed, and about 75% of the people on the plane had tested positive for COVID-19. So if he is going to do this for public health reasons, we need to be suspending these deportations right now. By the way, these ICE detention centers, people are being locked up in these detention centers. They have not committed a crime. They're being locked up for civil issues, right? Procedural issues. They are being locked up. They're putting kids in cages. Kids and families in cages. And because COVID is starting to break out in these facilities, now they're essentially starting to put people in solitary confinement in conditions where they are trapped in 1-2 people, and they're stuck inside 23 hours a day. They get 30 minutes to an hour outside once a day, 1 hour a day, to do everything, to take your shower, to cook your food, to call your lawyer, to contact your family. It is inhumane what is happening. So the thing is, how I feel about Trump and about this whole thing is that if you're going to do this for public health reasons, do it for public health reasons. Do it in a way that is structured, that is informed by doctors, that is informed by public health officials. But if you're going to take this opportunity to just smash and grab and to try to hurt our communities, we cannot allow that to happen.
I agree. I'm going to get on a lighter note. You're from the Bronx. Your top 5 rappers of all time. It doesn't have to be Fat Joe. It don't have to be no Fat Joe. Fat Joe is out of this.
Top 5?
Top 5 rappers. Fat Joe's out.
This is
Big
hard.
Pun's still in, but Fat Joe out.
Okay. In order?
Nah, you could just say 5. I ain't going to make it that
top
hard.
5. Okay, I'm going to say just top 5. In the top 5, not in order. Nas. I think Big Pun is up there. I think, of course, we've got Biggie. I think Tupac. And the 5th one is so hard. KRS-One.
Ooh. You have a mean starting 5, AOC. Yo, you have a mean. Now you making me. Now, I like you, man. Yo, I didn't know I like you this much. That's crazy. That is a mean starting 5. Now we can end it. We can end this if you gotta go, whatever. But you know, but if we end this one, I'm gonna end this one with this is what we call an alley-oop.
Okay.
This is the new Green Deal.
Oh yeah, Happy Earth Day. Today's
Happy
Earth Day.
Earth Day. And I'm in Miami, and I'm not gonna lie. The water looks happy. The trees look happy. The skies, no planes up there. It's a great jumpstart to helping global warming. So give us your idea about what's going on, and I know you behind the Green New Deal.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a really serious problem, and in fact, I think the issue with climate change, a lot of our problems with climate change actually do overlap with Corona, because it starts with politicians who deny science, who don't believe scientists, and they don't act fast enough. And so the thing starts getting out of control. And then when it starts getting out of control, it results in us having to fundamentally change our life, and people dying. And those people that are dying are the ones that are Black, brown, and low income first. All of that, all of those things apply in climate change as well, except basically coronavirus is doing in a couple weeks and a couple months what climate change is doing to us over decades and over a decade. Mm-hmm. And so we have some really big problems, because if you're out there in Miami, Miami is going to have a really rough next couple decades. We're already seeing that there are towns and cities in Florida, my mom's in Florida, that are starting to flood on sunny days. Like there isn't even a bunch of things going wrong. It's just a sun shower, but because the tides are coming in stronger than they normally are, and they're slowly rising every year, there are towns and cities whose infrastructure, people are noticing. They're like, the water was not this high 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So what we really need to do in order to address this issue is have a massive jobs and infrastructure plan put in place. We need to rebuild our roads. We need to rebuild our bridges. We need to roll over our schools.
My daughter goes to a private school. She has a computer. She takes to school this thin. You get a kid from the hood going to school. They got textbooks from 1934. 6 of them. Their back is like they're getting scoliosis. Walking to school, and it's the schools are horrible.
And even right
they look
now,
like dungeons.
And the thing is, even right now, so now that all the schools are shut down, these classes have to happen digitally online. And there are kids that don't have iPads, that even if you have an iPad, it's not like every apartment in New York City, let alone the Bronx, has broadband Wi-Fi where you can stream video to be on your teacher. And so there's a real digital disparity that is going to lead to further community disparity due to the digital learning that has to happen in coronavirus. And it's not just kids in the hood either. It's kids in rural areas, kids that are out in really kind of far out, that are in kind of farming communities, like that aren't all plugged in with broadband either. And they're struggling from a lot of the same problems as well. And so we really got to address these issues, but we're going to have to rebuild our schools. We need to create a bunch of jobs. And by the way, everyone was like, all these Republicans were freaking out because oil prices tanked this week, right? And people are like, oh my God, what is this going to do? First of all, they're freaking out over the stock price. But if they were actually concerned about these workers, they will be fighting for their health care. They will be fighting to guarantee them a living wage. But they're not. And it's just like what we saw with these folks with the coal mines in Appalachia, where it's the coal companies that the politicians care more about than the actual coal workers. So we need to create jobs.
We're seeing that right now with the stimulus plan that they gave it to Ruth Chris and Shack. When we got small business owners, moms and pops, that can't pay the bills, they get murdered.
They're not getting anything. They're not getting what they need, and they're going to continue.
AOC, I'm gonna let you go. I know you're very important.
No problem.
You got to vote tomorrow. God bless you.
No, God bless.
I hope to see you again on the Fat Joe Show.
Likewise, of course. Thank you so
much. All right.
Bye. Have a good one. Take care. Stay safe.
Bye. Boy, I tell you that AOC, boy, she's serious. She knows what she wants. She knows what the issue is, whether you agree with her